Okay, this is out of control. I'm serious. I don't know how many of these little short videos I'm gonna have to stitch together, but I am flabbergasted. I am almost speechless. I'm working out and my agents are working. I learned so much from some people in the last 24 hours, and I made some major changes to their soul file and to the heartbeat file. And I now have my own custom built dashboard, which I had built previously, not for this, but now I've integrated the agents into it. I have two agents that are talking to each other. There's a hierarchy. We have an incredible plan, a system, and they're just working autonomously. It's blowing my freaking mind. This is day 3, and they're doing stuff. Like they're thinking and working. The biggest thing though is because I updated the soul file and the heartbeat file. I'm a vibe coder, which I know people like to make fun of, but I've had a hell of a lot of output in the last couple months of vibe coding. Anyway, so where I just jumped in with these agents and started trying to get them to do stuff. My friend who's a software engineer, he spent the first couple days with meta communication with the agent to program it on how to think and how to behave. So my naivety, I kind of just assumed that out of the box, as long as I have, Claude behind it, that it was going to think properly and that it was going to understand that your role is to go and do stuff autonomously. And, I had those conversations in the beginning, but clearly it wasn't clear enough for the agent to fully understand. And so when I saw his soul file and heartbeat file, I was like, oh my God, that's why I'm having issues. And that's why yours is autonomous, because of the heartbeat and soul file. So I made major updates to the heartbeat and soul files of my agents, and now it's a whole different ballgame. It's just blowing my mind how different they behave when you start with a better soul file and a better heartbeat plan, so that it's checking in, so that it has very strict rules about when it can say, okay, tasks are done, or when it can say, oh, would Josh get mad if this wasn't done and I said it was all okay? Probably, so I need to keep working. And then doing like a green, yellow, red tier for when it should just make its decisions on its own. One of the other big things that he had in there was it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Almost everything is reversible. And so when you start to program your agents that way, suddenly they take on a whole different level of autonomy. It's pretty freaking mind-blowing. Someone mentioned, hey, why don't you tell a little bit more about yourself? And that's a good point. I will, as I go along, I'll show a little bit more. I tend to be pretty private with the stuff that I'm working on until it's out there. So what I'll tell you, I mentioned the Venturopoly app. Venturopoly's been something that's been in my life for like a decade. But my startup is called Bigi. So it's a hive fermented bioactive superfood for gut health and energy. It's made 100% from the hive, 100% natural, organic, really, really awesome tasting, really healthy. But it's a food and beverage company. And so even though it's a startup, we got into an accelerator. We went through that last year. We're selling on Amazon. We're selling direct to consumer. We're in a few retail locations with Ambrosia in Toronto. But there's so much more that we need to do with it. And so one of my biggest goals, and why I really was researching this more and more the second half of last year, was because I want to figure out how to implement AI agents for Bigi, especially for our sales and marketing, for our outreach, and definitely our social media. The social media posting and everything that needs to happen to do a good job, you either need a budget to pay someone $5,000 a month to like be full time on that, or you have to figure out how to use AI agents. And so that's one of the big motives. So that's one of the companies. I'm restarting the marketing agency that I had for a long time that I haven't been doing in the last few years, because I've just been working on my own projects called Anabasis, anabasisintelligence.com. And we're going to have a much heavier focus on AI and this sort of thing. So I have clients and potential clients that I want to help with this technology. And so testing it on my own companies and my own projects is a great way to see if it's something that I can actually offer to people, because humans are always going to need to be, well, always, I say always, and I mean like the next 6 months at least, are still going to need to be in the loop to really work and maximize the effectiveness of these things specific to different sectors and industries, you'll still need humans in the loop, I think, at least for a while. And so, it's like in the early days of the internet, there was plenty of opportunity. It still is early days of AI. And so even if, big companies are using this, or even if it becomes something that's a consumer product where it's just push a button and suddenly you have an agent, you're still going to need humans who really understand how to get the deep work out of it and really maximize it for your business. So that's a part of my motivation for wanting to figure all this out in the short term. But long term, I want to use this to maximize my own life, my own projects, my own ideas. But in the short term, absolutely, if I can, in this arms race for utilizing this technology, if I can be one of the few people that truly understands how to implement these agents, and also the business side and the human side of things, if I can help in the industries that I know well, that I have worked within over the last 20 years or so, if I can help those businesses and those people that I know to expand their businesses and make some money in the process over the next 6 months to a year, while I'm getting my own projects really, really dialed, then absolutely, that's one of the other motives for doing that. Not to get rid of people. I'm not a transhumanist in that way at all. Not a transhumanist, I'm pro-human. So the goal is not to get rid of people, it's to maximize the effectiveness of every single human that's on your team. And I believe that this can do that. So to recap, now, I got my agents set up, 2 agents, and my own completely customized dashboard, which they're all also helping to make more efficient. Picked up a new client, have another like 7 or 8 proposals in the works, and I'm automating all of my own stuff. It's only day 3.